Hello, I'm Ayaka Nakamura. Since I was a kid, I love the soil, plants, insects, and animals. So I have watched and touched shapes and mysteries of living things in the tiny world with lasting interesting and surprising nature. My major at high school and the university was agriculture. I was a strawberry farmer for 7 years before I started traveling with my partner Nobuyuki Sugihara, who is an artist from 2017. It was very natural for me make necessaries such as clothes or hats for myself and my family by my hand in living as a farmer in a beautiful forest, producing our own food and playing with plants and insects in the garden. My mother and grandma always enjoyed sewing for necessaries and it made our life bright and colorful. My grandpa made wooden boxes and carved them. He also weaved baskets and mats with plants and used them in our life. I was grown up in that circumstance. Therefore, my artwork comes from life, nature, and culture that was taken over the people. Dynamic curves of plants, graceful groundness of fruits, water flow, ripples and drops of water, shape of small neighbors living underground, warm soft shape of human bodies, life swell and pits, coming and going, melting and swirling. These arrows of leaves attract me a lot. I execute my artworks with textile, clay, and materials that I meet while traveling. But the most characteristic expression is using hats. A hat is a necessary which protects our body from sunlight and cold. Sometimes it can be a tool to put our belongings in or carry them. Also, it can have a role to show people's status and rank like a crown on the king. I think it's because a hat covers on the head, which is the easiest part of our body to recognize a person. Last year, I lived in Taiwan for 8 months and did exhibition while traveling by learning the culture of indigenous Taiwanese. They have a traditional costume, which has a very elaborate and beautiful headdress. I saw many headdresses of each tribe in Taiwan. They saw things like feathers, horns, tusks, which they get by hunting, and shell or grass beads as well. The embroidery on them was beautifully fine. I think hat is a thing we put on our heads, and it connects people with heaven, so that religion ideas, what they believe, and the unique culture of area appear strongly. This artwork at Taiwan National Craft Art Center is an aggregate of 15 meters long organic structure made with hat blades over the stairwell of 3-story building. I got inspired with kirakir, which is a special hat for the Saishat tribe, indigenous Taiwanese. They use it during their festival, and it means dancing hat in Chinese character. Kirakir is a 2 meters high hat combined with branches. It is the place where dwarf spirits rest. With a special huge hat, they sing and dance through the night. It's fascinating that they made a hat for talking from the myth, ceremony, and praise the tribe. It is a path where spiritual things come and go, and a cradle of spirits. It's also like a bridge over the sun, the source of life, I wanted to express bridge which connects the heaven and human with heart. The process of making hat is very simple. I saw a long narrow blade on entirely. It's the same as making straw hats. And I controlled the shape in my hand. It's like turning a lathe for making pottery. The shape becomes an organic one, like a water drop or ripe fruit. It's an interesting shape, but familiar to nature. So when you put it on your head, somehow it looks natural to your body. One day, I was walking around the village with my hat on. Old man talked to me and said, "Your hat looks like a roof of a shrine. I feel thankful." He started playing to my hat. I was a fascinating experience. It seems that the spirit of something is living in the hat, but it's not me. I made another artwork in Niigata. In autumn, salmon are coming back to their home Shinano River from the ocean. I cut and opened their bodies, peels of the skin, took off meat with a bamboo spatula, and then took off nerves and membranes with a pumice stone that I picked up at the beach. I researched how to turn fish skin around the Amur River and made leather using natural materials. And I sewed them together and it turned out an artwork. I heard that Ainu tribe in Hokkaido use salmon skin for shoes and clothing. People around the Amur River use it for windows of their house. Salmon come back to the river from the ocean every year. They are deeply related to local people's life, clothing, food, housing, so they cannot be apart from the culture. Every day I polished salmon skin and sold them. I also cooked and ate their meat. They were delicious. I was so happy to experience this amazing, respectful culture. Sewing must have been an essential work for human beings because we don't have fur, born naked. Piercing with a needle and thread, we get two into one. This simple movement, repeating from ancient days, to protect ourselves or wrap up some loved one, gives me a deep inspiration like meditation. In Kagawa Setouchi, local people donated me an uncountable amount of old kimono. I made them apart first and sewed them together. It became a large piece of cloth. Some kimono was eaten by bugs or had stains, so I sewed and repaired them. In Japan, we have a proof: don't throw away a cloth if you can wrap 3 as keepings. When clothes were rare, people sewed a lot of small pieces of cloth to survive from cold. It's called the textile of Boro, famous in the world. This artwork has been grown by participants of the workshop. The large cloth is used as the cover of the kotatsu, a Japanese traditional heater table, and the participants put their legs under the table where it's warm, and then they enjoy sewing. For about 2 months from 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. I stayed at an empty space on a shopping street. whom the window was a huge glass. Many local people came there, and I enjoyed talking to them. With drunk man, young lady in her 20s, neighbor wife, walking elderly people. We wished for recovery from the epidemic while sewing and had a lion dance ceremony using the cross on the last day. That lion dance is always for praying for the recovery from the epidemic. Although the cross had different stitches and various colors, it was beautiful family. I always do my work cooperating with my partner Sugihara, including our daily life. I love his idea that the things coming over the earth beyond myself, it is the expression. Always opening ourselves to something but ourselves, accepting others. We would like to travel like that, learn local culture where we are carried and make expression coming from our life with nature.